So, Atman, how do we know it exists? When we can't perceive it with any of the senses. The senses perceive attributes, color, shape, size. They're perceived by the eye. Smell, perceived by the nose. Taste, perceived by the tongue, and so on with our senses. But the self, that which you are, cannot be perceived by any sense organs. So how can we know it? Normally, almost everything we know is through the sense organs. Some things we logically can deduce using our mind. So for example, if somebody's behind a door, you may logically deduce they're there because you can hear their footsteps. So you can't see them, but you can logically deduce their presence because of some other information. So normally all our knowledge is through the sense organs: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and our mind. So we can say the five senses and the mind. That's six in total. These six things. These are the six gateways of knowledge. The six things that we normally get our everyday knowledge from. But there's one other kind of knowledge we have, which is unique. That is not in the domain of the five senses or the mind. And that is the knowledge that you exist. The knowledge I am. Before you put it into words, I am, before you say I am, before you have the idea, I am, there's an unspoken, non-conceptual knowledge, in quotes, knowingness or knowing that you exist. You can then express it in words and say, I exist, I am here, or something exists, something is here. But before you even express it, or before you're even able to express it, before your knowledge of language appears, when you're a very young child, there is still somehow a knowledge I exist, or something is here, or I am here. This is the sense of being. This is Atman. So it's intuitive knowledge that everybody has already. This is called the self. This is called self-knowledge or self-realization. And it is spontaneous knowledge that everybody has already. Now, if you look carefully and you discriminate, you will actually realize this knowledge comes to us not through the mind and not through the senses. And it sounds like a very bizarre thing to say if you've not heard this teaching before, but this knowledge of I am is also present during deep sleep, when there is no dream, deep dreamless sleep. There is knowledge I am. It shines there too. It's always present. It never disappears, even in a state such as deep sleep, where there's no appearance of a body, no appearance of the mind, and no appearance of the world. Still, this knowledge I am is present. Now, some of you will know what I'm talking about. Some of you might be confused by that. But essentially, the quieter and more peaceful your mind becomes, and the more it attends to the sense of beingness and sense of presence, the more you'll start to intuit. You'll start to have the intuition that what you are, the I am, the presence, the beingness, is ever present throughout your waking, dreaming states, your waking state, your dream state when you're dreaming, and also your deep sleep state when you're asleep without any dream. This I, this Atman, which just means yourself, is always present. When the mind is very noisy and very keyed into thinking, it won't realize that sense of I am is present during deep sleep because it identifies with the thinking. And when the thinking is not there, such as in deep sleep, it thinks it disappears because it's so identified as being thinking. But when the thoughts start to come down and you become more peaceful, in Sanskrit, what is called being sattvic, then the knowledge of Atman starts, the intuitive knowledge of what you are starts, spontaneous intuitive knowledge I am, which is not of the mind, which is not of the body, which is not of the sense organs, which has got nothing to do with the world. It is there always. This is Brahman. Because it is beyond, because it has no name and form, has no attributes that can be sensed, we say it's empty. Empty because it has no name, form, smell, taste, color, shape, size, yeah, sound. You can't hear it. You can't see it. How can we know it? It's because it's what we are. We know it through our very being. We know it is because what we are. It's self-evident, spontaneous. And it is. It just is. Why? Because it is. That's just the way it is. We can say, poetically, we can say, we're lucky that this is the way it is. We know ourselves intuitively, spontaneously. It's innate knowledge, but it's unique knowledge because unlike any other knowledge, it's got nothing to do with the mind or the sense organs. Whereas all the other knowledge, which is actually a form of ignorance, it's actually a form of maya or illusion, is of the mind and sense organs. It's all maya, it's all illusion. When we turn away from all objective phenomena, body, mind, world, experiences, thoughts, insights, intuitions, all these things. If we turn away from all these gross and subtle objects, we come to our sense of beingness and we merge into that beingness, we dissolve into that, and that's how we realize what we are. It's never the mind that knows, it's just the knowingness that knows itself, so to speak.